Hello, Internet people. We're back with Pete's Plants, and today we're going to talk about watering. Growing bonsai and other plants is rewarding, and one of the keys to keeping them alive is water. And watering bonsai in pots is different than watering them in growing containers. So here to tell us all about the ins and outs of watering is Peter.
Hello. Watering, I have found that a fine nozzle like this works best. Well, when you cut your water on, make sure it's there. Let me go cut it on real quick.
Okay. So while he's cutting the water on, I will try and do a close-up of this nozzle for you. So let's get over in the shade so you can see all the tiny dots in here that come out as mist.
So you don't want the maximum pressure, but a fine flow of water. And I use this to get the foliage, give them a shot, and get the whole plant a shot. Now, the trick in watering is you cannot get the water to go through all at once in bonsai containers. You have to come back and go over a few times until you get water dripping out of the bottom. It's you got to understand your tree. This is a root over rock that I'm watering, and to make sure I get water all over the place, under the rock even, I water it a few times. It's something that's learned, and you have to really work at it and figure out when you have given adequate water. Now, I will come back and check these in a half an hour, and if I see water dripping out of the bottom, then I know I have succeeded in watering. And if I haven't, I pick up the hose and go ahead and get started again. Cascade pots are a little bit more difficult. You definitely have to stay on them and water several times.
Several times a day or a week? How often is several?
Several times, every 15 minutes, half an hour. Check to make sure you're getting water dripping from the bottom of the container. If you don't, the chances are you have not watered enough, and the soil could be very dry. So, cascading bonsai, I pay particular attention to get that water all the way through and into the container and the soil, and I have to wait 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, and check the bottom, make sure it's dripping out of the bottom.
So for that, as you can see, there's a hole here, so you would look in through here to see more the middle of the container, to see if it is in fact coming from the middle versus the sides.
What I do is I let the stone kind of dry and then water again until I physically see water dripping out of the bottom. I feel confident that I have done a good job in watering it then. Plus, early morning watering is best especially if you want to drench the foliage. And the beauty of this nozzle is when I want to just get the foliage a shot, I can do it and make it look like a fine rain, just dripping on the plants and on the foliage, so that that will benefit the plant and the bonsai if you are doing this. The foliage, somehow, when you mist it, can draw up a lot of water being like that. So, with that said, that's pretty much the thing of watering.
How often do you water? Once a day, a couple of times a week? What is your rule?
My rule right now is once a day because it's in the 90s and occasionally we get some wind.
Okay.
And wind is your biggest enemy because it will dry out a pot very quickly. And that's why I check my plants a couple of times a day to make sure I got them well moist.
Now, what's your difference in watering, say, a pot that is in a grow container like that?
Nursery container?
Yes.
Well, same principle I use. I get the soil good and wet first, and then come back and check it.
Well, with those sitting on the ground, how do you check those?
Pretty much the same way as I water. Am I getting water out of the bottom of the pot? And if I'm not...
You mean the drain holes at the bottom?
Yeah, the drain holes. If
Okay.
I'm not, then I will give it another shot. A lot of times, I got native violets volunteering and other stuff, and when I see that grass or whatever it's growing on the soil wilting, then I know I got to get some more water in there. And the position of your tree will also kind of help you with watering. If it's in full sun, exposed, it's going to dry out quickly. The least little bit of wind will dry out a pot. And if you can film, I don't know if the camera will catch that, but you can see water dripping.
Let's see. Oh, too far. Sorry.
Well, that's one of the little things that have to do by trial and error.
Where did you find that hose nozzle?
A.M. Leonard. You just type in amleo.com. They are out of Ohio. They provide a lot of professional type supplies. So this is where I got that.
Okay.
And I'm waiting on delivery of a longer arm, wand they call it,
Okay.
to help me with my reach. But in general, I don't water stuff with a jet stream.
Okay.
It's either a fine mist, like a rain, or I soak them. And with that said, any more questions?
Yes. I noticed that sometimes you water with watering cans. Can you talk to us about what kind of watering can you would use?
Well, over the years, I have managed to get a good Japanese-style watering can. So
as you can
this is the watering can, and you can see the nozzle is even finer, or just as fine as the other one.
I know it's hard to see on this video, but there are a ton of tiny dots there.
Yep.
And what is, that watering can looks a little different. It's got like that bar that you're holding and all that. Is there some special significance?
No, just add strength, and when you want to water siphon, you see it's a real fine mist-like.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, if you have any questions about watering bonsai or watering plants, please let us know. One thing that you may notice is if your pot has dried out a lot, the soil will pull away from the side of the pot. That's not a good sign. And when you water pots like that, you'll often notice water runs right through. Can you talk about that a little bit?
The best thing to do is to soak it for half an hour to an hour.
Okay.
Give the water a time to be absorbed by the soil and for the perk water to take effect. In other words, perk water is when the ground just draws the water up to where it's needed.
So,
don't try and water a dried out plant with a hose. Just put it in a pail, whatever you have, and fill it up to the rim of the pot.
okay.
And then give it a half an hour to an hour, come back, and if the soil has dropped very low, add some more water to it.
Okay.
But give the soil a chance to absorb the water. Don't put it in a pail and then 2 seconds later take it out.
Okay.
It's going to take time. Mother Nature does not rush things, so you need to take time or add time to your watering, okay?
All right. Well, again, we hope this video has been helpful, and grow some plants.